Hi everyone, and welcome to the review session of Chapter 16, Monopolistic Competition. Today we will discuss the monopolistic competition and define its characteristics. We will discuss the long-run equilibrium in monopolistic competition. We will discuss monopolistic versus perfect competition. And finally, we will discuss monopolistic competition and its effects on the welfare of the society. During our previous chapters, we have discussed both monopoly and perfect competition. And although these two are very good examples for understanding microeconomic models and concepts, in reality you will usually meet markets which are somewhere between the monopolies and perfect competition. Let's discuss two of such cases. First, oligopoly. It's a market structure in which only a few sellers offer similar or identical products. And the second one, monopolistic competition. That's a market structure in which many firms sell products that are similar but not identical. So let us try to understand what are the characteristics of monopolistic competition. First one, many sellers. In a monopolistic competition, there are many firms competing for the same group of customers. Now, although this one is very similar to perfect competition, the second one is a little bit different. Product differentiation. This is the core idea of monopolistic competition. Product differentiation is about a situation when firm produces a product that is at least slightly different from those of other firms. Thus, each firm faces a downward sloping demand curve, as the products are not identical. And the last one is a free entry and exit. Firms can enter or exit the market without any restrictions. Thus, the number of firms in the market adjusts until economic profits are driven to zero. As you can see, some characteristics are similar to perfect competition, and some are, to a certain degree, similar to a monopoly. Now let us try to understand the competition with differentiated products, or in monopolistic competition, in a short run. Basically, in a short run, monopolistically competitive firms can face one of two situations. First, a situation in which the price of a product is higher than the average total cost, and thus the company in a short run will end up generating profits and will do anything to increase those profits. The second situation, however, is a situation in which the price is lower than the average total cost. In this situation, a company will end up generating losses, and it will be incentivized to do anything to decrease the losses. As you can think, this situation cannot last long in a market. Let us also try to understand what will happen in the long term. In the long term, if the firms are making profit, as we have discussed in our first scenario, new firms will be incentivized to enter the market, and the demand curves for the current companies will shift to the left, thus decreasing the profits and bringing the profits to zero in the long term. The second scenario, if the firms are making losses, some of current firms competing in the market will exit, and the demand curve in this scenario will shift to the right, thus again pushing the market to its equilibrium, to its long-run equilibrium. Because of these shifts in demand, in the long-run equilibrium, price equals to the average total cost, and the firms basically earn zero economic profit. Here we have a graph showing long-run equilibrium in monopolistically competitive markets. And this situation shares characteristics both with monopoly and perfect competition, as in a monopoly, market price exceeds marginal cost. However, at the same time, as in perfectly competitive market, price equals average total cost. So let us discuss some differences of perfect competition and monopolistic competition. So here we have two graphs, one which shows monopolistically competitive firm and the second one which shows perfectly competitive firm. Basically, the differences can be summarized by two factors. First, the excess capacity. As we have just seen, entry and exit drive each firm in a monopolistically competitive market to a point of tangency between its demand, or price, and the average total cost curves. The first graph shows that the quantity of the output at this point is smaller than the quantity that minimizes the average total cost. Thus, under monopolistic competition, firms produce on the downward sloping portion of their average total cost curves. In this way, monopolistic competition is different from perfect competition. As you can see from the second graph, free entry in competitive markets drives firms to produce at the minimum of the average total cost. And the second difference is markup over marginal cost. This is the second difference. So basically the second difference is the relationship between price and marginal cost. For a competitive firm, such as that shown in our second graph, price equals to marginal cost. For a monopolistically competitive firm, price exceeds marginal cost because the firm always has some market power. And the market power arises from the fact that the company is producing at least slightly differentiated products. Now, let us also discuss the effects of monopolistic competition on the welfare of a society. The effects can be summarized by two factors, two externalities. First one, the product variety externality. Because consumers get consumer surplus from the introduction of a new product, entry of a new firms conveys a positive externality on consumers. However, at the same time, monopolistic competition also generates a business stealing externality. Because other firms lose customers and profits from the entry of a new competitor, entry of a new firm imposes a negative externality on existing firms. So, to a large extent, the monopolistic competition has two externalities, one positively affecting consumers, and the second negatively affecting current companies. So that's it. This was the brief review of the core concepts of chapter 16, Monopolistic Competition. Thank you, and as always, please like and subscribe.